Welcome to Marcor Studios, where here we will be interviewing different industry professionals and educating our homeowners as well as the industry as a whole. We hope you enjoy the show. All right, welcome to Marcor Studios. We are here today with Carrie, who's our VP of Solar, and we are going to talk about our new division launching called Solar Roof Check.
Yes.
So
very excited.
Let's talk about what Solar Roof Check is something that I created as we got more involved in the real estate industry of realtors struggling when they were buying and selling houses with solar. We're starting to see you got about 10% of the homes on Long Island and the 5 boroughs that have solar on them. And a lot of these realtors, the lenders, the real estate attorneys, they're having a hard time navigating. You know, everyone's kind of figured out with the title side to vacate the lien and like get around the UCC filings. That's kind of, elementary level at this point because they figured that part out. Solar and a mortgage, we've figured out. People know how to do that. But it's really, what are you looking at? What are you buying? You're buying a house with a $30,000 to $50,000 machine potentially on average on your home. And home inspectors are amazing at what they do for the most part. But I don't want to it's not a matter of like a jack of all trades type of thing. They know a little bit in most cases about a lot of different things. And when you're dealing with a roof with solar on it, you've got to really fully understand the roof and you've got to really understand the solar. So what Solar Roof Check is, it's a 20-point roof inspection. It's also a solar inspection. And homeowners can either have the option to get just the roof inspection, just the solar inspection, or a combo inspection. And what we've been seeing is that actually the sellers want this more than the buyers.
It's a good selling point.
Well, so now you want to know, hey, I own the solar. I was sold the solar that it's going to add equity to my house. So how do we get the equity when we're going to sell it? So we want to be able to make sure that, and the home inspectors, while they do a great job at everything else, I don't blame them for not wanting to, and a lot of the home inspectors I've spoken to say, hey, we have people sign off on a waiver saying we're not inspecting the solar or we're not inspecting the roof or we're going to do a very, once over kind of thing on it. But they don't know, is the system up and functioning? Is it producing what it's supposed to?
And two, customers don't know even if their loan is transferable or if they have to include it in the home sale to buy out their loan and transfer it over. So
yeah, and we've been seeing a lot of sellers concessions where like at the end, if let's say it's a lease, we've got the realtors that are facing situations where they say, okay, well now we're selling our house, but the homeowner doesn't, the buyer doesn't want the solar, so we have no choice. It's part of the system, so we're going to have to take a $25,000 hit on the sale of the house. So now it's hurting the realtors on their commission from the listing agent as well as the selling agent.
Yeah.
But then the homeowner, the seller, is also losing value in that property. Whereas if we just educate this and have them understand what they're buying, and we're working alongside a lot of the home inspectors and the real estate industry as a whole. So Solar Roof Check, it's basically a comprehensive inspection of the system. We'll run diagnostics. We'll try and it is also based on the seller of the house to be able to get us the most amount of information.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of companies that have gone out of business, as we've discussed. What was left on these warranties? People don't realize. They think hey, I have a warranty. Well, what is that warranty? With solar, you don't have a warranty. You have 4 warranties.
And are they transferable?
Correct.
Or is it, the person that purchased them? Or does it go by the address? There's
Correct.
different ones for different products.
Yeah, and workmanship warranties are a lot of the times not transferable. So that's, one thing that we want to make sure that, okay, well, there's nothing really that could be done. But was there an extended warranty? Maybe that is transferable.
Yep.
Then you've got your inverter warranty. Then you've got your panel warranty. Then a lot of times the bracketing that's actually fastened to the roof has a warranty. So those are the types of things we really are trying to get an understanding of. So it starts with really figuring out getting, and a lot of the time these realtors don't even know, and our goal is to help navigate and make these deals more effective completely across the board for the real estate industry. So is the system owned? Is it leased? Is it a power purchase agreement? Or the tax credits paid off? The important thing about the tax credits, and that's going to be less of a concern moving forward, but if the tax credits were not paid. So, right, let's say that Mr. and Mrs. Jones got their solar 2 months ago and they haven't filed their taxes, and they're going to file them in April, on April 15th. And all of a sudden, Mr. and Mrs. Jones get in a huge fight, and Mr. Jones takes care of all the finances, and Mr. Jones somehow doesn't file the tax credit. And you go to buy their house, and you're under the impression that that bridge loan, that's the number you're looking at, that's if they were to pay back the state and federal tax credits. Well, what if they don't? Yeah. And you go to buy that house now, they're basically, you don't pay back those, you don't have to pay back those tax credits, but your monthly payment's now going to jump. So you're buying a house that you thought that had solar at payment X, but it's really X plus Y. Mm-hmm. And so you're not getting all the information. And now it's a little bit of an eye opener. And now you're mad at the home inspector. Well, they didn't know.
Right.
You're mad at their closing attorney. Well, they didn't know. Somebody's got to be able to give access to this information to these homeowners, right?
Exactly.
So the report really is making sure, how many times are we pulling systems off of a house that are on 3 layers, 4 layers of roofing, that maybe they were on a house that had wood shake underneath it, that doesn't even have a proper substrate to fasten to.
Right.
Unfortunately, on the service side, we see this stuff happen all the time. And how many solar companies that have actually put us out to install in the morning of, we're like, guys, you never got boots on the roof. You can't put solar on this roof.
Yeah.
And the morning of the installation, we're kicking these installs back saying, you can't put it on. But if it wasn't Marcor Solar putting the install on, another company might have just turned their head and said, we don't care.
We see that all the time.
So that's been a big issue of what we're seeing. What kind of problems, trying to proactively avoid them inheriting these different problems, or at least knowing what they're getting into.
Yeah. The other thing is that when homeowners get insurance policies, sometimes the insurance company will come back and say, hey, by the way, we're canceling you if you don't get your roof fixed because we see missing shingles. Where if they never knew about them, they may not be the ones going on the roof and checking when you buy a house, or, if you're taking over a house. So the insurance companies will now send them a letter or, a notification and say, all right, you have 7 days. Yeah, 30 days, whatever.
Yeah, to be in contract. And now they're on the hook for the removal of the system, the reinstall of the system, and the roof. Whereas that's something that if they did a preemptive inspection and proactive, they would have known this. We were just talking, about your neighbor that coincidentally came through to us. And the first thing you came in my office when you went on that inspection, you were like, if they only did solar roof check, they would have known this beforehand, and they could have leveraged that at the time of the sale, saying, hey, listen, this system's leaking, or, at least that we knew
the roof isn't going to last very long. Correct. Or, it's in bad condition, and they could have included that in the home sale.
I mean, there's such minor things that we see on these things where, like, I have some of the best of the builders and developers and GCs in the industry call me. And I had a call last week, and the guy was like, hey, he was actually an insurance adjuster, the owner, and the company, the GC, the general contractor on the job, has been doing this for years. And it was an architectural roof. And he's like, I just don't understand why you can't just put another layer on top of it. And I'm like, because it's against manufacturer specifications. Like, if it was a 3-tab, we could go over 1 layer, but you can't go over an architectural. And these are some of the best in the business, and they didn't know that. Yeah. So now all of a sudden you got solar companies that didn't know this at all, and they're just looking to get the sale, and they're re-roofing not only on over an architectural, but they're doing it on top of 2 layers already. Now it's a 3-layer roof. Now you have more expenses involved with that next homeowner. So again, this is not to discourage people with solar, but it's just to know to do your homework and make the right phone calls, because a lot of sales companies out there, or a lot of salespeople out there think that, hey, we're educating the right way. But a lot of these companies are running around without the right insurance. They're running around without a solar license. They're not understanding what they're looking at. They don't know how to run diagnostics on a system. It's pretty simple. It's like, all right, let's look at the bill, the last, 12 months of usage. And here's the wattage of each panel. Here's how many panels. Here's what the system should be producing. Let's look if it's actually producing.
Yeah.
Is there an issue? Is there, before you're buying that house, let's run a report. And again, it is up to whatever we're provided with information, but is that system functioning properly? Is it producing what it says it's supposed to? And if it's not, let's figure it out before you sign on the dotted line and close, or make sure that money's secured in escrow to say, hey, listen, my company might be out of business, but we're going to put money in escrow to make sure that that system's up and functioning. Maybe there's, a an issue with the inverter. Maybe there's something that maybe the roof is leaking, or maybe it's on top of a 3 or 4 layer roof, that system is going to eventually have to come off, or it's up to an aging roof. The biggest thing we're seeing right now on the insurance side is that these, like you said, these insurance companies, they're dropping homeowners. One, because they didn't notify them that there was solar and there's liability involved in the solar for the insurance companies to not know. And so now if these insurance companies are saying, hey, listen, we want to know that there's 35 panels on your roof, yeah, I would want to know too, because if something were to happen, the cost for an insurance company to pay out to remove and reinstall 35 panels for someone's roof to get redone is an excessive number. So, and people think that there's so much, there's an overcharge of these removal and reinstalls. They're forgetting that we're having to physically remove the system to start. Then you're getting a roof done, which is typically done at a discounted number when you're doing both of them together with us. But then you're reinstalling that system. And aside from re-engineering, which we don't typically have to do, sometimes we have to pull a permit for the removal and reinstall. But aside from new equipment, it's like installing an entirely new system.
Yeah,
There's still a lot of work involved.
And the feet that you get in your roof are one-time use. So once you take them out of the roof, you can't put them back. So you have to use
Huge point.
New attachments.
Do you know how many people are reusing existing attachments?
Yeah, you can't. It will leak.
Yeah,
There is no sealing it. It will leak. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many times that we're actually dealing, even like, for example, on like a low pitch roof, like where we have a homeowner that'll say, hey, listen, my roof, I've always had shingles on that elevation and it really should be rolled roofing. Or the solar company comes in and I'm like, guys, you still have to rip that roof and put the right components underneath it. Otherwise, that roof will likely leak the second the brackets go in. So while the roofing manufacturer can say one thing, solar implemented with that, it kind of changes it when you're at that tipping point. And those are the types of things that Solar Roof Check will expose. And again, not to discourage people of buying a house with solar, but to get them to understand what they're buying.
Right.
It could be very possibly, hey, listen, this system's functioning great and it was installed properly. From what our observations are, it's basically like a third-party inspection. Of course, you go back to your solar company, they're not going to sit there and tell you they did anything wrong. No, you want a third party coming in and evaluating it.
Right. It's an unbiased, here's a report of what we found, good, bad, or indifferent. And solar is such a good thing to have and such a benefit to homeowners. It's just that the lack of knowledge and training of what you're getting is missing in the industry in general. It's kind of, okay, here, sign on the dotted line.
It was a quick money grab for a lot of people.
Of course.
Like, it was people knocking on doors. Hey, let's get however many sales we can get. Let's get the bare minimum of labor
and they're not
installing
explaining exactly what they're getting. And the benefits are, they could be amazing, but homeowners just don't understand it. So that's where
or they're being told something by a salesperson, and then what they're actually signing is not actually what the salesperson's not even fully understanding it.
My parents have solar. They love it. They have not gotten a bill in years. They have a pool that's running all the time. They have, they're home a lot. There were certain things that they didn't understand, even with me being in the industry, and I explained it. And now, it's been a few years and they love it.
Yeah.
But if they went to go sell their house, they wouldn't know what to do next, what to look for.
But think about it. They own their system, right? And their system's paid off. So something like that. Hey, listen, my system was installed right. It's producing what I say it's producing. I paid back my tax credits. Here's all the information. Here's where your warranties stand. Well, guess what? Part of the selling feature of solar was that it's adding value to their property. How do you get that added equity? Well, at the end of the day, you need to make sure that that is known that, hey, my tax credits were paid back. I have no loan on this. This is what it's functioning at. This is what it's producing. You want to show that those things are working so that at the end of the day, it's very difficult for an appraiser to say, okay, we're going to run comps and there's 5 houses on this house that we're going to run, or in this neighborhood that we're going to run comps on, and all 5 of them have solar. How do they know the difference of what's functioning solar versus non-functioning? What's going to add value? What's the power purchase agreement, a lease, or a finance? If we can get them to see that, hey, this is owned and it is actually adding value to the property, they can actually work with the appraisers to say, hey, no, there is added value here on this. And then coming into the side where the lenders are the ones saying, hey, listen, we want to review these agreements. We want to understand what is my client buying with this house. So Solar Roof Check is going to give people that opportunity, but also from a roofing standpoint, did they use the right proper attachments? Did they install them? And then, listen, we don't have X-ray vision, so we're not going to be able to see everything.
Yeah, but we can.
But enough where
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to be able to say, hey, these are the things that we want to make sure that we're avoiding.
Mhm.
And also, if you do have issues, that we have the support staff to be able to help you.
Fix it. We have a
Correct.
lot of customers that, they'll need repairs or shingle repairs, things like that. And we're able to get it fixed within a few days, get them all the notes in the inspection report and everything. And then they can use that and say, all right, we did have this issue, but it's all fixed. And then now they have, a good report to give to
Correct.
either the new homeowners or their insurance company, whoever's asking
Yep.
for it.
And the nice thing is also, like, I talked a lot to the real estate industry, and when I speak to the realtors, what they're running into is like the last minute negotiations or the fact that solar becomes a deal breaker altogether, and it shouldn't be. It's something
Yeah.
that, as long as we're educating and we can educate the real estate industry and the homeowners to know this, it's something that actually is an asset for everybody, because solar is an asset if it's done right. So now, if we're talking about, making sure that, and not only are these realtors having the information to be able to say, hey, listen, like, no, we're protecting you. That's their job, is to make sure that they're selling them the right products and everything like that. What it's doing here is also making sure that these homeowners are not getting into a bad position, because who are they going to? They're going to the realtor and saying, you sold me a house that, you didn't disclose this information to me. Or they're going to, the home inspector, and the home inspector's like, well, here, you signed off that I wasn't looking at the solar or the roof. I was, we can glance at it, but we're not professionals with this. So, like,
Exactly.
for us to be able to give that peace of mind so they know what they're inheriting at this point is important. But what I've told the realtors the most is, like, hey, when you go and you're going from a standpoint from the position of listing that home, a solar roof check inspection is what you want at your open house.
Mhm.
You want that right there with all the information about your house. Here, by the way, here's my solar inspection. My system's paid off. Or this is the condition. This is, yes, it's a transferable loan. This is how we would transfer loan, so that these homeowners don't see solar, and because the negative word got around, and it's going to continue to get around more, because people have had negative experiences, but it's hurting the solar industry as a whole. For the good points of solar, we want the good stuff, because we have so many good stories, but it's the bad stories. It's like,
that everyone hears about.
Everyone's going to always hear about the negative. Nobody's going to talk about the good stuff.
And even a few years ago, solar homes were not the norm. They were kind of the exception, but now you're seeing more and more homes being sold with solar on them, as people grow and, change their lives as well. And then those people are, you want them to be able to say, okay, here's the solar, here's the benefits that we've had as a family, and when you're looking at houses, most of them now have solar as opposed to not having it on the roof. So you want to know what to do with it.
Well, I would say that Markor Solar is a great stop for them to come and, get a solar roof check through us. So if you, whether you're in the real estate industry, you are working with a title company, you are a real estate closing attorney, you're a listing agent, pretty much any end of the solar industry, we're going to be doing a lot more education on this as well, through we have our CEUs available as well, with Roofs for Solar, where we're going to be educating a lot between solar and roofing combined, where we actually are going to be able to offer continuing education credits for the real estate industry as well. So those classes, stay tuned, because they will be getting announced in the next couple of weeks. But making sure that your buyers and your sellers are protected, whether you're a homeowner, you're a buyer, you're a seller, you're in the real estate industry, we are here to help you in any way, shape, or form. The cost of these vary, but they are not an extreme expense versus what you're getting. So give us a call today, and we'd be happy to help.